Hey everyone, I am Blind Hussy. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am a reseller. I resell part-time in order to help support my family and help pay for an ongoing project we have at our house. So I normally try to do a video on Fridays. That's what I've been working toward. And this week I have not been able to do my video on Friday because of extenuating circumstances. So I'm going to share that with you. But I'm also not going to do a resale video this week. I'll go back to the reselling videos next week with another bulk unboxing. I've got one more bulk box to unbox. And I will probably have my helper for that. We will see what I can get away with this week. But today's video is just for fun. So I'm going to talk about our addition and what we have been doing and where we're at, as well as interesting things along the way. So that's it. So if you just want to listen to something while you're listening, then please feel free to stay with us. So as I've mentioned in other videos, and as you've seen, I've taken video from different rooms in our house while we've been doing this addition building. I've been going from room to room, and we are on the final leg of the addition. We need to finish a bathroom. We had some of the components, and we have actually been waiting since March for the other components to arrive for the shower specifically. So the shower pan finally arrived on Thursday, as well as the benches and the parts to it essentially. And so those all arrived on Thursday. And then we already had the toilet, and I still have one vanity to pick out. We already had a tub. So that's kind of where we have stood and had stalled out for a long bit of time. And then the last little bit that we have to do is, in addition to the bathroom, we have to do the base moldings around the floor on all of the upstairs, as well as the case moldings around the windows. And whether you may or may not know this, we did most of the work has been ourselves. We hired contractors for the hard parts, like putting a truss on our roof and putting the roof on. We had someone do the drywall and things like that. My husband did the drawing for the house, the original plans, which we've adapted along the way to better suit our needs. And then we did the flooring ourselves, and the painting, and he did, as I mentioned, he did the electrical and he did the plumbing. And I've helped. I can't say that I other than design elements that I thought were useful, I can't say that I specifically have lent much to that conversation, other than to agree or disagree with some things. But we did do most of it, ourselves. So that's been kind of where we're at. So on this last leg now, we have someone who will come in and actually help my husband get the shower in, get the tub in, and get the base put around it. And then that person will tile up the bathroom for us, because that's not a job either of us feel comfortable doing ourselves. So that's where we're at. And we've been waiting for these things for a long time, since the beginning of the pandemic. Since March, since the beginning of March is when we've been waiting for a lot of our supplies to come in. They've finally begun arriving within the last month. So on Thursday, I was supposed to have a full working day for me on Thursday. And I ended up not having a full working day because I got a phone call right at 8 o'clock letting me know that FedEx was going to be pulling a tractor trailer onto our road and trying to deliver the products that we needed for the shower. So the tractor trailer was coming. It ended up being a long tractor trailer, and they had it was only 9 boxes, but there was a couple of small boxes and then a couple of really large boxes. And he did not have a lift gate on his truck or anything like that. So he and I, the driver and I, actually unloaded the truck. My husband had to work, and then my husband managed to come out right at the end when we had unloaded everything, and he came out to say goodbye and give him a good turnaround place up the road. And then husband and I loaded everything from the end of our driveway to the upstairs, except for the two biggest boxes. So we essentially blockaded our front two doors, the inside door and our screen door, open, and then proceeded to take all the boxes in and out and up the stairs. And we had quality control watching us the whole time, making sure we were doing a good job. So we finished getting everything in the house, and we've got the last two big boxes and had decided to leave them right at the base of the stairs between our kitchen and our living room and library. We decided to leave those there so that we could get the contractor to help husband carry those up the stairs, and I could go back to doing what I was supposed to be doing. So we finish, we close the doors, we come in the house, my husband starts heading for his office, and he does this, what? And starts stalking toward his office. I've never actually seen him stalk, so I was super surprised that this was a thing he was doing. And he came in his office and he closed the door, and he closed it pretty loudly, which is also not really in his nature. So he was in his office for a moment, and then I hear the word chipmunk. So yes, there was a chipmunk in the house, and not only in the house but in the office, and my husband was supposed to go immediately back to a conference call. And so he apparently let his boss and coworkers know that he would not be able to attend right away, and then asked me to get our largest mixing bowl, which happens to be a metal bowl that I like to use for breads and things like that. It's a one of those big metal bowls, right? And so I handed in, and I started teasing him a little bit about, I don't know how you're going to keep a chipmunk in a bowl. It's a bowl. I mean, it has a really wide opening on the other end of it. And I'm just laughing the whole time, and I'm pretty sure he did not find it quite as amusing as I did. But so he, I hear him in here, and from the hallway, it sounded like a Roadrunner cartoon. There was just, every once in a while, you'd hear ping, 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 as the metal bowl struck the edge of something while he was trying to catch this chipmunk. And so after a while, we realize that he's just not going to be able to do that. And while he is doing that, he at one point pokes his head out, and he makes a comment about, can you guys break down a box for me for the other side of the bowl so I can slide the box under it and catch the chipmunk. So I break down a box, and I go and I close up all the doors, right? And I close the bedroom door and the bathroom door. I open the front door again and the screen door, and I lay a table, folding table, along the route between those two doors on my porch, so that the chipmunk won't be tempted to wander onto the porch some other direction. That he really only has one way out once he comes out of the office to avoid people, and that's basically to go back outside. So we do all of that, and we now my small helper and I are doing these items while my husband is in the office, and so we're doing it, and he stops. We hear him stop, kind of moving a little bit. And then I come to the office door and I ask if, did you catch it? And he says, no, I didn't catch it, and I don't hear it now. So he kind of pops his head back out at the office door for a moment. And we're talking about, well, is it possible that he is hiding? Is there a place he can hide in there? And husband had checked, he had checked in the filing cabinet, and he checked in the base of the filing cabinet, and he checked in the trash can. He checked all the places that I would have thought a little chipmunk could go. And so he does those things. And when he's finished doing them, he says, well, I don't know where he went, and he's not making any noise, and he's not moving around anymore. Wherever he's gone, he thinks it's a very safe place for him to be right now, so he's not going around. So I said, okay, and meanwhile I'm thinking, well, did he get past my husband and come out into the hallway? Did he go in the kitchen? Where could he be? He doesn't have easy access to the library. He doesn't have easy access to Max's room. All the doors, those places are closed. Does is what could have happened? So anyway, now again, this is 8 in the morning. So my husband goes back to work, and he's working the whole day, and he's in his office, of course. And now we're closing the door for everything. So when he comes out of the office, he closes the door behind him. When any of us use the bathroom, we're closing the door behind us, etc. So we do this all day long. And then a friend of ours mentions that she has a have a heart trap that we can borrow. So my older boy goes and picks that up and comes back, and my husband sets it, and he actually sets it with a little bit of almond butter and some mashed up leaves, the leaves by a tree out front, and puts that in the office. But he put it in the office, and he put it right by the door. Okay. So it gets to be that night. We're all very tired. It's been a long day, a long couple of days. And so, so the little one goes to bed, and then husband actually goes to bed. And I had stayed awake because I had a little bit of work to do, and I was doing some posh listing, and I was checking my things on eBay. And I thought, okay, well, I've got about an hour. I'll stay up and do these things. So about 11 o'clock, I'm in our library. And now I had moved the blockade so that I could go into the library when it was time to put Max down. So, and I didn't want to close the blockade again, because if he were to get up in the middle of the night, he would be very upset if he could not, come across and get to us pretty easily. And that would make his sleeping impossible, right? You'd be awake for a lot longer. So I had just left it open. So when I was sitting in the library, I was sitting there, I'm having a drink, and I'm working on my listings, and I think I hear something in the kitchen. So I turn and I look, and I don't see anything. I am not surprised by this. So I go back to, my listing, and a couple of moments later, I hear a noise again. So I look, and I think I see something, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's just my ears, because, I'm very tuned up to this idea that there's a chipmunk in the house. So, I sit there a little while longer, and I look up, and as I look up, I see the chipmunk in the library with me, and he sees me at the same time I see him. And he immediately, sort of stands up on his hind legs and just sort of looks at me, and then takes off to the kitchen again. And so I get up and I start heading to the kitchen, but I can't tell, is he in the kitchen, or did he go all the way back into the office, or is he in the hallway, right? And essentially it's our house is in a little bit of an L shape. So there's a bedroom, our bedroom, and and an office, and the kitchen. And so so I look in the places where I can look. I go in our bedroom and I try to quietly listen. And I don't hear anything. And then I go to the kitchen and I try to listen. I don't hear anything. So then I think, okay, well, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to go in my bedroom, because that's closer to the office, which has the trap, which has the almond butter. So I go to my bedroom, and I, in fact, get ready for bed, and I lay down, and about half an hour goes by, and I hear a noise again, and this time I hear it in the kitchen. And so I wait a couple of minutes, and I hear it again, and I look, and I watch the chipmunk walk, not even a little scurry, not a scamper. This is like a leisurely stroll through my kitchen, through the hallway, and into the office. And so I think, okay, So I kind of poke my husband a couple of times with absolutely no response. So I get up and I go to the office, and the door will not close all the way because the trap is there. And now, mind you, I used to live on a farm. I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents on a farm, but I have never, as an adult, lived on a farm until now. I have always lived in a town, or I lived with my partner, who sort of handled all of those things, right? Like I have not, I have been spoiled, y'all. This is just the only way I can say it. I have been spoiled. There has always been someone to handle this particular problem. So, I don't know. Now, here's the thing. Being a city girl, I don't know if it's okay to pick up the Have a Heart trap and move it without setting it off. Is that, I don't know these answers at the time that I did it. So I gently pick it up by its handle and I move it over to the center of the office, and then I close the office door behind me as I back out. Now I did all of this keeping my front to the office and not looking away, and my back to the door, and then I backed out. So I put the Have a Heart in the middle, and then I closed the door. And so then I'm like, okay, well, there's no telling how long this is going to take, because now he's gone to hide again, right? I mean, that would be the sensible thing to do. So I go back to bed and I wait again. And after about 10 minutes, I hear what sounds to me as though he's circling the room, or she, I don't know, but the chippy circling the room. Like I can hear the areas that it's getting into and going around and what it's trying to avoid, right? So I listen to him do that for a little bit, and then the next bit that I hear is this jumping by the door that sounds like he's on a trampoline and he is jumping at the door, and then his fur as it hits the door as he's coming down. And so about 5 minutes after that, the trap goes off. So at this point, I try to wake up my husband again, and I finally get him awake by poking him pretty hard and like, hey, we caught a chipmunk. So my husband gets up, and at this point, part of me wanted to take a picture of me with the chipmunk, and I didn't. And I have to tell you, I'm a little tiny bit sad, because my nanny will never in a million years believe that I picked up this cage holding a chipmunk inside of it, or that I did anything involving this chipmunk. So I pick up the cage and I take it outside. And in my mind, I think we're going to sit it outside and it's going to stay there until the next day. And then we're going to drive it someplace where it can find a new home. But my husband tells me after we get it outside that no, that's not how it works, and we can't just drive it away. This is where it lives. And I was not expecting that. So I, after a couple of questions and things like that, I finally figure out, and with guidance, because he was very helpfully standing there just answering my questions, I open the end of the trap, and the little guy jumps out and runs off towards wherever it lives, which hopefully isn't my porch or something. And then, and my husband's like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. We'll put the trap here. We'll clean it tomorrow, give it back to our friend, and, this will be great. And I'm asking questions at this point, like, is he going to come back in the house? What if he comes back in the house? Like, I don't want him back in the house. I don't want to deal with this again, where I have to figure out where he is, and then I'm going to have to spend the next 3 weeks cleaning my house because I don't know where it was, And so anyway, so there was a chipmunk story, and it spanned an entire day. I can only imagine what my husband's coworkers think. You're on a teleconference with a whole bunch of people, and you have to explain to them, hey, I'm sorry, I can't stay because I've got a chipmunk in my house. So anyway, so that's my very long-winded excuse for why I don't have a Friday video. So next week I will be back with the bulk unboxing video, and I'll have a couple of numbers, I think, for the prior 2 tubs that we did. We did M&O, I believe. I'll have to double check, but I think it's M&O. And what else. The what solds for this week, I'm gonna just general stuff. It's been a nice week in terms of amounts, right? Like I've sold two kind of high dollar things, 60 and $65, and then I sold some really cheap things, like a pair of earrings that I had listed for $3 because just they're super costumey. They're very pretty. They are certainly very 50s sort of look to them, but they were just very costumey, and I figured that it would take a very specific kind of person wanting to do pictures or wanting them for a costume or something that would want to buy those items. So I've got a couple of those things that sold. And then I believe that I have a book and a box of chocolates that sold, some Hershey's chocolates. So that's it for this week, and I will get back to working on my other videos for next week. I'll do the other unboxing. So thanks for watching, and you probably learned nothing from this. If you learned something from this, congratulations, but it really was mostly to be entertainment. So welcome to City Girl life on the farm here. Thank you.